Hello everyone, this is Outstar and welcome to the next Vampire the Masquerade related video. This one will be less video game related. Or will it be? No, it will be very much Bloodlines 2 related. There's one thing in this video that I will tactically put somewhere near the end, which hopefully is going to make you screech as hard as I screeched. And I screeched a lot. Today is the big launch of the Kickstarter campaign of Vampire Chapters, which is basically a tabletop board game RPG in box. I'm going to explain in detail in this video what exactly this is, but in this particular case I don't even remember whether it was the developers contacting me first or me contacting them, because I was so excited about this project and I couldn't wait to know where we can freaking play this. Why? Because this is possibly the best way to play Vampire the Masquerade V5 solo. Yes, we don't have to have friends anymore. We can play this game by ourselves. You can also play it up to 4 players depending on the scenario, but in general, it's an RPG in a box that allows you to roleplay Vampire the Masquerade without a storyteller. The game is your storyteller, the game is your game master, dungeon master, or however you call them. And before I will go on to explain to you exactly what Vampire Chapters is about and what it contains, I really want to be upfront with the fact that I do have the incentive for making this video. I specifically asked the authors of the game for a copy because I really want to play it. And additionally, although I didn't ask for it, apparently they added the thing to my link below the videos, which is very nice of them. I'm just making sure that this is clear that, yeah, I do have some incentive to do that, but I hope that you guys will understand when I will explain what Vampire Chapters is, that I have full right to be excited about this. And it's something that is really up my alley, and I'm very happy to be able to show you this particular product. Additionally, despite the incentive, I will do my best to actually give you a short review of the part of the game that I've played so far. So yeah, very basically, Vampire Chapters is an RPG in the box for 1 to 4 players with 40 branching scenarios and 30 minutes per player per scenario. So if you play the scenario alone, it's going to take you 30 minutes. If you play it with 4 people, 2 hours probably. The game is very big and actually pretty replayable. There are 200,000 words and there are many different outcomes in each of the scenarios, depending on both your choices, actions, disciplines, abilities, and of course the dice rolls. The creators of Vampire Chapters seem to be extreme Vampire the Masquerade nerds. They even have Vampire the Masquerade tattoos on them, and they approached Paradox Interactive a year ago with this concept of creating this RPG in a box, possible to play alone if you wish so, and Paradox was really into that, and they gave them the right to use the V5 system to base this whole thing on, and in the end all of the events that are happening in Vampire Chapters are canon to the lore of Montreal, because that's where the game takes place in. The lore of the game actually used the ashes of Montreal by night to create something new. And it uses partially the lore of Montreal by Night, where all Sabbath in the city is being completely obliterated by Second Acquisition. How? No one really knows. Did all of the Sabbath die? No one really knows. And if you play this game, you probably will find out. And also, after you will play Chapters thoroughly, you will actually recognize some places in Montreal as a tourist, for example. Because Montreal as a city is explored thoroughly, Vampire Chapters, with its places, with important destinations. Just like in Bloodlines 2, we have places in Seattle that we can recognize, like Volunteer Park or Pioneer Square. Vampire Chapters is doing the same kind of a bow to Montreal. The big plus of the game is that all V5 clans are playable, except for the Hecata. Unfortunately, there's no Hecata because Cults of the Blood Gods released a little bit too late in comparison to the whole development of the game. So we have all of them sans Hecata in the game. You're able to play all of the basic ones from the core book with the base version of the game, and then you have expansion packs that also add Banu Hakim, La Sombra, and Ministry. All clans have their own beautiful little figurines. What's better for people who actually paint figurines like I do, if you buy the version with the painted ones, you're going to receive 2 sets of figurines, the unpainted ones and the painted ones. Now when it comes to the game itself, I did play 2 prologues so far. the prologue of Gangrel and prologue of Ventru. Gangrel prologue is very much combat oriented. You can actually check it out yourself on Tabletopia and I believe on Tabletop Simulator as well. And in Gangrel prologue you're fighting with this one guy and you are using multiple weapons. There's a combat system which utilizes the cards on which you have both actions and the actual weapons you can use. So there's a knife, there's a punch, there's a kick. On top of that, of course, you have your character sheet, which is the simplified version of the V5 character sheet. You're starting with a basic sheet pre-done for you for each of the characters. And as you go from scenario to scenario, you actually gain experience at the end of every one of them. And you can manually spend the XP and craft your sheet however you want from that point, resulting in many possible combinations on how you can play your characters. Ventru scenario actually was very much dialogue based in the usage of dominate, charisma, persuasion to get yourself a political leverage over other people present. There are tons of event cards, there are dialogue booklets, and you browse through them very easily. The game is basically telling you, okay, so you chose that, or you rolled your dice this way, you had a success, you had a failure, you go to card E45 or E60. It's kind of like the old school storytelling in the book, but with many additional things on top of that. You also have the little boards with hexes where you move your character around. There are of course disciplines which you can use in the events and dialogues, and depending on your actions within a singular scenario, your actions may actually affect the next ones. Sometimes you get boons, sometimes you get some punishments. Depending on your actions, the behavior of other characters in the next scenarios towards you may be different. So it's kind of like playing a video game really, like Bloodlines 1 or 2, but without the computer. And with a lot of reading involved. But the design is pretty nice and slick. The artworks are freaking amazing, and yeah, the game seems to be very easy to get into. As much as the amount of content may seem to be a bit intimidating at first, once you get to it, it turns out the game basically holds your hands and tells you what you need to do next to have a full experience. My only issue with playing the prologues was that there is of course this small RNG aspect based on the dice rolls. There is a possibility for you to have a quite of an unsatisfactory experience of your character losing if you are very unlucky. And of course when you have 40 scenarios, it's not going to happen to you all the time. Plus you can always restart the game because the replayable factor is pretty high. But I did have runs with both of the prologues where I was just so excruciatingly bad. Which for me is fun because I don't mind losing in my roleplays, but I'm just leaving it out there for those of you guys who want to feel powerful. And now, a very big thing about feeling powerful in this game. This was something that I was so excited to tell you for a long time since I heard about this, but I had to wait until today. There are 3 Kickstarter exclusives. One of them is a really cool werewolf figurine, second is the figurine of one of the main antagonists of the game. That for me looks a bit Sabat-like, a bit like a Nagaraja maybe, or a Tsumitsu, I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, a very enticing little fellow. And speaking of enticing characters, there is a 3rd Kickstarter exclusive with a full scenario, miniature, character sheet, illustration, and the part of a game in which you play as Stabby. Look how pretty he is, my sweet boy. Yep, now you know why I was so excited. You know, what can I do? So the story takes place right before Bloodlines 2, and you can follow Mr. Damp, because that's his real name, into Montreal, because he shows up there for a reason. For one scenario, you can swap your regular, kinda weak vampire or Mr. Damp, who is actually really powerful. Through the scenario, you will be able to feel how it is to play this Ancile elder kind of a character. Mr. Damp himself, his character sheet is being worked on by creators of Bloodlines 2, so they make sure this is canon and this is going to very much be on point with what Bloodlines 2 is about. Anyway, I'm so excited for this, I can't be excited more, and yeah, look at this figurine, it's just perfect. I just... I had tons of fun playing the prologues of this game, and I love how ambitious this project is, because it is really ambitious for a board game per se, or the RPG in the box, which is the proper name for this project. And yeah, I can't wait to have a chance to finally play Vampire the Masquerade alone. You know, when you just want to be a little introvert yourself and stay at home and play Vampire with yourself. Anyway, that's what Vampire Chapters is about. The link to the Kickstarter campaign is right below, and if you will back the game using this link, I will get some incentive from that, so that would be really nice. But of course, only do that after doing some research on the website and thinking that this is the project up your alley. I know for sure I'm going to play this game a lot, and hopefully once it delivers, I am going to have this set up so I can actually stream it or make videos out of it, because that would be really fun. I mean, it's just going to be me awkwardly holding Mr. Dam's figurine for 1 hour and looking at it, but yeah. Good luck to the developers on Kickstarter. I really hope the game is going to achieve its main goal. And the extended goals, of course, because knowing how well the Vampire the Masquerade products are doing on Kickstarter recently, I really hope for this to happen. See you in another one, don't get lost in the night, and goodbye.